All right, good afternoon, everybody. I am back, finally. I know it's been a while since I've put out a tutorial. I do apologize. I have been incredibly busy the past few weeks. Things kind of got a lot more complicated. The more tutorials I put out, the more folks that reached out to me, a lot busier I became. And so I had to kind of take care of a few things so that I could sit down and record a new tutorial. But I am back. So this is the tutorial that a lot of you have been waiting for a very long time. I had recorded this, some of it, previously. But when I went back and reviewed the footage and the audio specifically, the audio was distorted. I have no idea why. But it was messed up and I didn't really want to release it like that. So I scrapped that recording and I figured that I would just do it again when I had time. So that's where we're at now. So this is the SugarRush tutorial, which is going to be the food delivery app, which is going to be similar to DoorDash, I guess. Maybe similar to Uber Eats. I've never used that one, but I'm guessing they're kind of all the same. But what we're going to the theme of this is just going to be a delivery service for sugary treats. You can design it to deliver whatever you want, but that's what I'm going to base this off of, is just candy and cake and ice cream and everything else. So this is going to be an interesting tutorial. I think it'll be kind of fun to do. It's going to, oh, I'm sorry, I'm getting a phone call. Let me pause my video real quick. Sorry about that. Yeah, I got a new phone, and usually I keep my phone on vibrate almost always, my old phone. But my new phone is on ring, and I did not realize it because I just got it, so sorry. All right, so now it's on vibrate, or at least it should be. So like I was saying, this tutorial is going to use a lot of mapping related components. We're going to be using a lot of location tracking and things like that. And as always, I want to try and create these tutorials to utilize as much of FlutterFlow as we possibly can without having to use a ton of custom code or a ton of APIs and all that other stuff. That way it's as accessible to everyone as possible. But obviously to do location tracking, especially real-time or near real-time tracking, we are going to have to use APIs for that. And I'm going to just use Google's mapping service because it's already somewhat integrated with FlutterFlow, and so that'll make it kind of easier for you to get started with it. In the long term, I would probably suggest using something different. Mapbox is pretty powerful, but it does require more hands-on to get it working right with FlutterFlow. The problem is with Google Maps is that it can get very expensive very quickly, so I wouldn't use it indefinitely unless you have a really big budget for it. But that is what we will use for this demonstration in any case. So when I was putting all this together, I was trying to think the best way that I wanted to do all of this. Obviously, we want to curate a list of places that the user can order from based off of that user's location. So we could use Google's API that generates a list of places, which can be returned as a list view, or it could be returned as a map with little markers on the map. And those places are associated by coordinates that are within a certain range. You can set that 15 miles, 20 miles, kilometers, whatever your specification is, to the user's coordinates that they have put in when we collect their location information. But the Google Places API is obviously more complex, and it requires more resources for it to run, so generally it'll be more expensive to use it. So I was trying to think of a way that maybe we could keep costs as a close minimum as possible, while also generating those results based off of the user's location. And so what I ended up coming up with, which I mean, I didn't make it myself, it's Google's API code, but I did integrate some custom coding into it to do exactly what I wanted to do. So let me jump over to my collections. I've only got 2 right now, and we'll build this out as we go along. But obviously we got our standard users collection, and the main point of reference for this tutorial is the location item here, and it is a lat long data type. So if you go to your data type, you just choose lat long and name it whatever you want. And so that's important. And then businesses, that obviously is going to be our list of places that can be ordered from. Just got a few things in here that we will obviously get to as we go along. But the 2 main things really when it comes to mapping will be the location, which again, that's lat long, and that's going to be relevant when we get into the actually using the Google Map widget for location tracking related services. But for this tutorial, we're just going to use zip code. Now, this structure is based off of you living in the United States, so I don't know how zip codes translate over to other countries. Maybe you have something similar, I don't really know. But that's what we're going to be using here. And so what we're going to do is we're going to, when the app launches and you request permissions from the user, one of the permissions obviously will be to collect their location, which is returned as a latitude and longitude coordinate set. And that will be saved to their document profile here. And so so what I would want to do then is obviously I will collect their location. They'll give us permission to do that, and it'll store it to their user profile. And then somewhere on this page, when we build it out, I've got a totally blank page here. We're going to have a button or something that's gonna essentially say, get results from my location or something like that. And what it's going to do is it's going to run a custom code to take that user's coordinates, and it's going to extract the coordinates. It's going to use a Google API, a Geocoding API, to convert the coordinates to the zip code associated with those coordinates. And then it's going to compare that zip code against our list of businesses, and any business that has the same zip code that's returned from the user's location zip code, it's going to return that list of businesses. So that's how we're going to get businesses that are within a certain range of the user. All right, so first things first, I'm going to show you the custom code that I have, and this code will be linked in the description of this video, so you'll want to grab that. You will have to get a Google API key to be able to make the calls to the geocoder, which if you've already got Firebase set up, then you'll have access to the Google Cloud. You will have to have the Blaze plan to be able to use Google Cloud, but that Google Cloud is where you'll find all of this stuff. And I will put relevant links into the description of where you need to go to locate the Geocoding API, so that you can enable it and get your API key for that. And also the relevant link to be able to grab your iOS, Android, and browser API keys that you have to plug into FlutterFlow in your settings, so that you can use the Google Maps. And you'll want to, obviously, whatever mobile service you're planning to deploy to, iOS or Android or both, you'll want to grab both of those. But to be able to test the mapping, you'll definitely want to get the browser API key, so that you can test it inside of FlutterFlow. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and show you the code then. I need to grab a clean copy of it that doesn't have my key associated, so give me just a second here. Okay, so here is that code. So again, most of this is a code. It's essentially an API call, but I'm not running it through the API section of FlutterFlow. I actually put this in as a custom action and compiled it that way, because the code was already just pretty much the way that I needed it to work the way that I wanted it to. So there was really no reason to go through and build out the API call itself. However, I did need some extra functionality in the code that I'm not entirely sure I would have been able to get with the API call. I probably would have ended up having to do a custom function regardless. So it's easier just to do it this way. But it's pretty straightforward code. Obviously, this is where you would put your API key right here between these little apostrophes here. But what it's doing is it's taking the latitude and longitude from a user's location whenever you collect that, and it's extracting those numbers and converting them to a zip code. And it's using, again, the Google Geocoding API, which takes that latitude, longitude, and it actually converts the entire thing to an address if there is an associated address. But then it looks through that address and just pulls out the zip code because that's all we want. However, where I needed to add in some custom coding is right up in here. So whenever you gather a user's location, whether you store that location as a string variable or you store it as a latitude longitude variable data type in the collection, which is what we're doing, is a latitude longitude. If you return that, well, let me just show you. I think it'll be easier to show you what I'm talking about here. So let's see. I need to drop just that in there real quick and just center everything. And I'm just going to put a text field in here and I'll show you what I'm talking about real quick here. All right, so I'm going to return authenticated users location. So in our collection, latitude, longitude, right? You would think that would return something similar to, just like a number, a bunch of numbers with a comma and maybe a negative depending on where you are. Something like that. You would assume that it's just going to return your latitude and longitude integers. But in actuality, it actually returns a string of information that includes words and numbers. So let me go back over here real quick and make sure I got that put in there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and load this up and show it to you. I'm going to pause the video while it loads real quick. Okay, so now this is loaded. So you'll see that it's not just returning our latitude numbers and our longitude numbers separated by a comma. It's returning the word lat long parentheses lat. It's pulling in words and numbers. So if we were to run our let's see here, pull that up. If we were to run this custom code, this API call without the custom code, it's going to be trying to convert our latitude longitude to a zip code, but it's going to return all of those different characters, and so it's not going to be able to convert properly to a zip code because it's going to have too much information to work with, because all it's looking for are these numbers. It's not looking for the rest of this stuff. So to make that work, then you have to have this extra little piece of custom code in here, which essentially removes all of the letters, all those other characters, and extracts just your latitude, longitude with your comma, so that the API knows what to do with it and convert it over to a zip code. So this code is pretty imperative the way it's set up. Again, if you were just to use the Google API code by itself, it would not work. You have to actually extract these numbers. So why it returns like that, I honestly don't really know. It seems kind of strange to me that it would give that kind of return and not just your numbers. But in any case, we found a workaround, so it's working just fine. Let's see here. There we go. All right. So, and also, I'm going to show you this real quick. In your document, where you have my users collection here, my location, it stores it as just the numbers. So that can be a little deceiving. You'd think that it should just return the numbers, but it doesn't. It returns a bunch of words with it. It makes it really confusing. All right, so that's pretty important to making sure that this works correctly. All right, so we can close that out for now and get rid of this. Okay, so that's all taken care of. So typically, if you're collecting location data from a user, it's going to ask them for that permission after they download the app and install it and run it. You can push through manual requests for that information. Just really depends on how you want to have that set up. I think what I would probably do is just have it load up on the auth page to request that, but to actually pull the user's location, we need to have it happen after they create their account, obviously, because we need to assign it to their authenticated user account. I don't have a whole lot set up here because this is not the main focus of this tutorial, and I'm not going to do a whole lot with stuff that's irrelevant. But I guess for the sake of doing this here, we could just have, let's see here. There we go. Create your profile page. And on this page, we could just go ahead and run an action. Boy, okay. So FlutterFlow is having a lot of problems lately. I don't know if you've noticed it, but pretty much all of their templates are broken. Let's see that I can't do anything here. I don't know if you're having the same problem, but I am. Can't do anything. Yeah, it's really quite frustrating, to be honest with you. So I can't do anything there. That's broken. So really I have to build completely from scratch. So I guess I could just do it here. Since this page is already working, maybe it'll let me, yeah, lets me put my action in here. So I'd go in here and I would do a backend database, and I would update document, I'd update the authenticated user and their reference, and then I would go to the location field, and from variable I would go to global properties and get current device location. And then that would load their location in there, which you can do this on pretty much any page, or you could have it load that up with a button press. Doesn't have to be done automatically. It's really up to you what you want to do. But you just want to make sure you acquire that and put it into their document. All right, so we're going to go back over here because it's the main page that we're going to be working with. So we want to go ahead and kind of build this thing out. This page is primarily just going to show a list of places that are nearby so that a user can place an order. All right, so I guess let's just get started with it then. Think what I will do first. Actually gonna get rid of that. And I'm gonna make it look a little different here, I think, than what I usually do. Let's see. Okay. All right, and I may do an app bar. Yeah, we'll probably just do an app bar. Make that a little bit easier. Well, actually, no, we won't because we have that gradient color. We don't want to do that. We don't want safe area turned on either. So let's just do this. All right, and put a row in there, bring that down. Let's leave that for now. And then let's see here, what else do we want to do? Let's see. Think. Choice chips, we'll use these in a minute. And I'm going to do another column and bump that down some, and I'm going to do a row. And then we'll do, let's go to that column real quick. And drop a list view in there. Bring that down some. Okay, so now we need, actually, no, I don't want to do list view. It's not right. Actually, not a list view. I want to do, let's see here. Do a wrap and bring this down some here. Let's see here. Oh, whoops. Do that. Where'd you go? There we go. Let's see. Do horizontal. Yeah. Okay. And then let's just do a container. A little bigger here. Set our corners. Okay. I don't want to do that. Actually, I think I'll do something different here. I'm going to put a stack on there, and then I'm going to do another container. And I want the children alignment to be down at the bottom. There we go. And shrink that down some. A little too much. Okay. All right, and then we're going to make that fill color, and we're going to do a transparent black. Go. All right, and now that we do want a column, and I guess I'll just do a row first. Put some text in there and change the color. And make it smaller. Okay. Let's duplicate that. And end to end here. Bring that up just a little bit. And then let's get rid of that, and let's put this over to the right, and then I'm going to go down here and I'm going to grab a rating bar. Obviously that's way too big. I do want to make that quite a bit smaller. That'll work for now. Let me bring that up a little bit though. And we're going to change this to $sign. And let's see how that looks. Okay. All right. So we'll start with that then. That should be fine. Let me change this. I'm going to change this to a different font. There we go. Okay. Now let me go ahead and grab my wrap here, and I'm just going to go ahead and generate my backend query, which is going to be to my businesses collection. Just get a list of documents, and I'm going to set a filter, and I'm going to choose the zip field. Well, actually, I've got to set. Yeah, I forgot to do that. I've got to set an action first, so I can get the output from it here. So let's actually come back to that. So I think I want to do this here. Move that over, and I'm gonna do, let's see, probably let's just do this. Let's see. And let's put an icon in there with it. Okay. But I think I do actually want to put another row in here, kind of make that row button itself, move that into that row. It's kind of tough to do that sometimes. I don't think it's in there. Let's go in here and look. There we go. Okay. So this is where I'm going to actually apply the action to extract the user's location coordinates from their document and then convert it to zip. So let's go ahead and do that. So we will run an action. We're going to go down to our custom actions and do the convert lat long to zip code. And then in your variable here value, you go to authenticated user and select location. And then your action output variable, set that whatever you want. I'm going to set it as returned zip. All right, so now we can go into our wrap and set our backend query. Do query collection, businesses, list of documents, and we're going to filter zip is equal to our action output. Turn zip. And you can set order by if you want to. Guess we could order by the name of the business. Now I do grab this container here. Whoops, wrong container. The top level container. And I want to set some spacing between it. Do it on either side there, and we do need to do top to bottom as well. Okay, that should work. I guess I could do the spacing here. Let's see. Yeah, let's just do it there instead. I'm going to apply all this padding here. But I definitely do want more than that. Probably do 10, honestly. 10 and maybe 6. That's not enough. Let's do 10 and 10. Okay. All right, let's leave that at start. Yeah, we want it that way. Okay, so that'll work, having it like that. So then we'll just have these coming down like this, which I don't really like the way that looks. I'm actually going to add quite a bit more spacing between them. Probably even more than that. And that's a little too much. All right, that'll work. Okay, so let's jump over here real quick and go to our businesses. So that field where I have the dollar signs, that's what this cost is for. So it's basically an indicator to the users, kind of the price of that business, whether it's high or low. So I think all this other stuff will be fine for now. So let's go back over here. And I'm going to go to my container first of all, and I'm going to set that, where's the background image and network, and then we'll go to the business document and set it as a photo. And I'm going to grab a filler photo real quick from Firestore. Look like I have anything in here. Let me upload something really quick here. Okay. There we go. I'll leave that fully expanded. Okay, and then let's plug the name in as well. And then the initial rating, yeah, we don't want that to be interactive, obviously. So let's go to business document and set that as our cost integer. Set the default variable 0. And just leave that at 5. Okay. All right, that'll work there. So now we got that taken care of. So that looks pretty good. Got something going on there. Do I have a border? No. I don't know what I'm seeing. It's the elevation that's causing that. The elevation, I don't know what's causing that little halo around it. Oh well. I'll leave that turned on. All right, so now I have some businesses here that I can work from. I do want to Actually, I want to scoot this down a little ways, get it out of my way, because I'm going to add something else in here. I'm going to go up in here and grab another container and pull that down and set it to infinite width. And I'm going to kind of scoot that down just a little bit there. Okay. And I'm actually going to make that transparent. Make sure that no elevation is set. So I'll make it kind of stick up, although that might look kind of cool. I don't know, I may leave it like that. And we'll leave it like that for now. And then I'm going to put a list view in there and set that to horizontal. And bump it down a little bit in every direction. And then I'm going to put something in here. So I think with all the issues that FlutterFlow is having, I don't think any of their pre-made stuff is working. So I'll just make it myself for now, I guess. So I'm just going to do this. Make it kind of wide here. Okay. Now I want my vertical size to be smaller. Obviously you can't do it like this because this is contained within another container. You would have to adjust the outside container to be able to change the size on that. So what I'm going to do is just pad it then. Like that. All right. And then let's do this. And then I think, well, I want to do, I want to do a stack on that, actually. So let's go grab a stack real quick. Because I'm gonna probably do that. Well, I don't know. I don't know if I want to do this background or not. No, I don't want to do it that way. Okay. All right. So put that in there. I'm gonna put a row in here. In that row, I'm going to stick an image up here in the left-hand corner. Obviously, it needs to be a lot smaller. And let's do a column here. And I'll just do a row and another row. And set that column, the alignments to the left. And let's put that in there. Actually, let's get rid of that row. Let's go to our column here. And let's put that in there. Okay. So now I'm going to go back real quick to my businesses, and I'm going to do, I'm just going to do sponsored. Set that as true false. And then I'm going to do my list view here, do back end, query collection, businesses. I'm going to limit this to 10. My filter. So obviously we'll have two filters. Zip is equal to we could do this a couple of ways. I don't want to do that. No, I'll just leave it like this for now. Whoops, that's not what I meant. Need to do that as the output, the action output there. And then another filter, getting ahead of myself, sponsored is equal to true. And we'll just leave order by turned off. All right. Okay, so now we have a scrollable list there that will kind of give some highlights of stuff. And we may do something else down here. Possibly. Matter of fact, let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to grab that container and I'm going to duplicate it. Actually, going to get rid of all this. Don't really need, I guess I'll leave that. I am going to center it though, but I'm going to grab my outer container. I'm going to shrink this down quite a bit. It's going to give us a error there because that's extending way too far. So let's get rid of that. And then let's just do a row. Okay, and let's see, I think I'll do all right, I'm just trying to think how I want to do this. We'll actually just do an icon and text in here. And we'll probably set this to be centered. You know, that's not going to work. I forgot that you can't set icons dynamically. So we're actually going to do a photo then. There we go. That'll work. Let's actually give it a bit more room here. Okay. All right. And then for that container, round those edges off some more. Yeah, do it like that. Looks good. All right. And so now let me go back over in here and businesses. We're going to create a user favorites reference field, and we'll set that to document reference users, and we'll create it as a list. And now in our query for this one, we're going to make sure that that is set correctly, but we're not going to use sponsored. We're going to use the user favorites reference, array contains, and authenticated user. And we'll just go ahead, turn that off. I'm going to set it to infinite scroll there. Okay. So that's taken care of. I think I'm going to scoot that down a little bit. Kind of want to have these staggered a little bit like this. Make it look a little different. There we go. Oops. that smaller too. Decrease the size on this a little bit. And honestly, we'll probably make the width of it variable to the text. So I'm going to take this row and I'm going to space it out a little bit more on the edges. It's not just sitting right up against it. A little bit more. Maybe 12. All right, there we go. That looks good. Okay. And then as for my container here, let's do a box shadow on it. Just kind of curious. Let's see what it looks like. There we go. All right, I'm gonna leave it like that for now. Okay. Now, our column, so it is scrollable. That's good. All right, so now I can move this back up a little bit. We probably do want to set something as kind of an indicator there, so put that right there. Scoot it over, but I do want to bring it in some, just a little bit. And we'll make that, I'll do it consistent there. And let's put it down some. Okay. All right, cool. That looks good. So I'm going to leave it like that for now. So now we're getting what we need. I do need to fill some more stuff in here. I'm going to go ahead and set my variables on this stuff for the business document, photo, and the name. Oops. That's not what I want. And then the rating here. It's not interactive. Okay. All right, and then we can set this to the name, and yeah, so it's gonna be something different actually. Let's go in here real quick. And we're going to use some custom icons for that here in a little bit. All right, cool. Alrighty, so now we're working with something here. So, oh yeah, I did want to set all that. That's right. We need to do these choice chips. I want to finish up this page for the most part, and that'll be it for this tutorial. This one's a bit longer, even though it's a starting tutorial. Usually are not this long starting off. But we need to get this page put together and show how we're going to get our generated location data from the user. So what do I want to do with these guys here? Looks like I didn't even put anything else in that column. Whoops. Oh well. No big deal, I guess. Get that down some now. And I think let's go back to our businesses. We're going to do category. And we'll just set that as a string. And these are going to be our categories here. I'm just going to add some in here. So I'm going to do like okay. So we'll just use 4 categories for now. Yeah, let's see here. And chip spacing is fine. Yeah, we won't have any selected. We'll work with that in a second. Anything, let's kinda, okay. All right, and then we'll set some icons and stuff in here. I don't know if they have. Okay, so we do have that. One for cake. Oops. That's not what I meant to do. Sorry. And I don't know if they're going to have anything for this. Not really. All right, so we may just get rid of that one then. Just work with 3. That'll be plenty, I think. All right, that looks good. I don't know if I want that. Maybe want it like that. Yeah, I think we'll do it like that. For now, anyway. Oops. Okay, that'll work. And then this row up here is probably going to be something having to do with the user. So I'm just going to toss an image in here for the time being, and we'll come back to it. Actually, I don't want a square image. I want a circle image. I'm just going to leave the path alone for now. And I'm going to put an icon in here, although we're going to use some custom icons. So this isn't going to be permanent. I'm just going to put it here kind of as a reminder and a placeholder. And then I want to have a menu over here. Okay, so that's all taken care of then. So let me see what my errors are throwing. Values not defined option. Okay, that's right. Shoot. I don't kind of want it set to all. But I don't really want that. Okay, we're just gonna leave it alone for now. Let's go over here into our custom code and let that cycle through real quick. so that's good to go. So let's jump back over here real quick. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and run a test of this. Don't have any errors, just have warnings, so we should be good to go. I think most of those are just okay. So we're going to run a little test and make sure all this is working the way it's supposed to. So let me go ahead, I'm going to go to run mode here, and while that's setting up, pull this over. All right, so in my user account that I'm going to be using, I've got this location here, which I don't know. Let's see if it'll give me an address here. All right, so it doesn't pull up an address based on that. But anyway, this is these are coordinates for a location in Denver, Colorado. Which I can pull that over to. So those coordinates are for this Petco here. And this Petco sits in the zip code 80206. So whenever I run my custom code with that API that will geocode the coordinates, those coordinates from that user account will be translated into the zip code 80206. And I've got a couple of businesses in here that have that same zip code. Let me go back. Go to my businesses. So so this one's 80206, 80206, 80206. This one is 80246. So whenever our page initially loads up, it's probably going to give us everything in there. But whenever we use our location, then it'll sort it by just these. It'll just return these that have these matching zip codes here, and it'll leave that one out. So, and it's probably not going to show any of this since I don't have any of that set, and it won't show any of this either. So hopefully with the changes that FlutterFlow has made, we don't throw any errors having certain aspects not filled out. It does look like that. That's why. Oops. Now where's it at? I don't want dark mode. Just want to go ahead and shut that off while I'm thinking about it. Okay, so let me pull that back up real quick. That's not it. Okay, so we've got all of our different things in here. Can't really see the writing because dark mode is switched on, which I don't think that'll really fix it. No. Never really understood the reason for this button. It doesn't actually toggle between dark and light mode on your actual app. All right, so let's go ahead and tap this. And as you can see, it returned. I wish we could see the writing. Let me pause it and get it so we can actually see the correct writing. All right, got that reloaded up here. So, so now I can actually see the writing on here, see what's going on here. So again, the ones we're looking for that it should return, the associated 80206, the biscuit company, pan pizza, and the Italian. So pan pizza, biscuit, and Italian. So that's right. Okay, so that's giving us the correct results there, and it filtered out that other one that's not in that same zip code. So, all right, and as you obviously noted, it returned all of our results. And if you've got multiple cities and multiple locations, you obviously probably don't want to show everything to a user. You kind of want to make it local to where they're at. And so later on in the tutorial, what we're going to actually do is apply another filter, which the initial list that will be returned will be all the delivery locations within the city that the user is in. So whatever city is being registered. So we'll extract the city name from the coordinates as well. And then what's being returned here will be equal to that city. And then the user can then narrow down locations much closer to them based off of the zip code that they're in within that city. But we'll do that in the next tutorial. So that's it for this one. All right. And I promise I'm gonna get these out more consistently here for this app since you've been waiting so long on it. All right, everybody, take care.